Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Carriage, Dean Selimovic, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. You may be asking what a trade envoy is. And as has been said, I've recently been appointed by our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, as his trade envoy to the Western Balkans. The envoys were created in late 2012 as a personal representative of our Prime Minister for several markets of high trade priority for the United Kingdom. Trade envoys work with the support of Her Majesty's government's trade objectives, and we uphold the government's objectives when performing that role, particularly when representing the Prime Minister overseas. In essence, it is my role to bring together parties between the UK and each of the 6 Western Balkan nations to increase trade and investment, as well as develop partnerships so that we can all learn from each other in a wide range of areas. I'm pleased to be here in Sarajevo at the Innovation Summit, the biggest innovation-focused annual event in Bosnia and Herzegovina. This is my second visit to your country in 3 weeks, which goes to show, I think, the importance the UK is placing, not just on this region, but on Bosnia-Herzegovina in particular. It is great to see so many people here and participating, both physically and virtually. And I'm confident that this excellent event will provide meaningful and useful lessons for us all. Thank you to the University of Sarajevo School of Economics and Business for hosting the event, and to the British Embassy for sponsoring it, as well as the many great private sector companies and public sector institutions who are here to take part in the discussions. By bringing together a range of private and public sector organisations, we can create a platform to discuss the impact of innovation on economic development and establish links between academia, business, government that will lead to greater innovation in the future. Let me start by outlining the UK government's approach to innovation in healthcare, an approach that has seen us ranked 4th in the Global Innovation Index and become home to 3 of the world's top 10 universities for life sciences. In July this year, we published our Life Sciences Sector Vision, which sets out our ambition and priorities for the next 10 years. Naturally, we aim to maintain the UK's position as a global life science leader, building on the successes of the pandemic response, especially in vaccines and research, and benefiting from the regulatory freedoms and opportunities created by leaving the European Union. The pandemic has shown how critical a flourishing life sciences sector is to the UK's resilience and to its economic growth. Our vision is strongly focused on innovation. It was the UK's research and innovation response to the COVID-19 pandemic that demonstrated how the country can rebound from a crisis when government, the sector and the NHS work together. It is innovation that will continue to advance the National Health Service through the development, testing and adoption of new technologies. It is through innovation and technological advances that we will diagnose, treat, cure and prevent a much wider range of disease than is currently possible. And it's through innovation that we will create an outstanding business environment for life science companies in which incentives and structures are aligned to support company growth and investment. The vision we've developed in the UK focuses on 3 specific areas. First, science and research, building on the UK's deep industrial and academic expertise and realising the significant potential of genomics and health data, both of which the UK has competitive advantage in. Secondly, we viewing the National Health Service as an innovation partner, ensuring the NHS is the reason to invest in life sciences in the UK. And thirdly, the business environment. We need to make sure the incentives are right for life science firms to start, grow and invest in the UK. In terms of science and research, the UK has committed to ambitious R&D investment targets and our commitment to spend 2.4% of GDP on research and development by 2027. As I was developing my speech before the interruption, I was saying that the UK has a vision that we have developed and we're focusing on 3 specific areas. Science and research, building on the UK's deep industrial and academic expertise and realising the significant potential of genomics and health data, both of which the UK has a competitive advantage in. Viewing the National Health Service as an innovation partner and ensuring the NHS is the reason to invest in life sciences in the UK. And the business environment, we are making sure that incentives are right for life science firms to start, grow and invest. In terms of science and research, the UK has committed to ambitious R&D investment targets and a commitment to spend 2.4% of GDP on R&D by 2027. We are incredibly fortunate to be in a position to spend $3.4 billion on health research and development and to rank as the second highest government spender on health R&D in the world. This has allowed us to take a huge stride forward in the way we approach innovation. We are in the process of establishing a new advanced research and invention agency to carry out high-risk, high-reward research. We are supporting the work of the new National Science and Technology Council, specifically in relation to artificial intelligence and bioinformatics. We are promoting Innovate UK, which helps businesses develop new products, services and processes which are needed to grow through innovation. And we are spearheading new research into funded by the National Institute for Health Research, and it's addressing some of the UK's most significant healthcare challenges. The NIHR is the largest funder of health and care research in the UK and works to support clinical research and management of clinical trials across the NHS and partner universities, as well as supporting collaborative projects between industry, charities, academia, other funders and the NHS, supporting the development of therapeutic medical devices, IVDs and digital technologies. They provide a full range of support to innovators throughout their clinical pathway, from early stage translational research through to later stage clinical trials in the NHS and social care settings. When it comes to the NHS, one innovation tool that is very successful is the Accelerated Access Collaborative, AAC, which brings together industry, government, regulators, patients and the NHS to remove barriers and accelerate the introduction of groundbreaking new treatments and diagnostics which can transform care. The AAC supports all types of innovations, medicines, diagnostics, devices, digital products, pathway changes and new workforce models, and in 2020-21 it provided over 320,000 patients with access to proven innovations. On top of this, the NHS has recently published a plan for how it will become the world's first net zero national health service in response to the climate emergency. Finally, turning to the business environment, the UK has purposefully designed an environment in which innovation can flourish, which has in turn attracted new investment. UK biotech has a significant uptick in inward investment as global appetite for innovation has grown. New analysis shows that biotech shares on the London Stock Exchange continued to outperform their wider market by over 13% in the first half of 2021, as international investors were drawn to the UK's strong science and high-quality companies. Moving on from biotech to biopharma, the UK biopharma market consists of 2,240 businesses, 124,300 employees, and an annual turnover of £55 billion, a supply chain turnover of £18 billion, and a predicted market value of almost $500 billion by 2026. This sector enjoys collaboration across industry, academia, government, the NHS and other health funders. It benefits from world-leading centres of excellence across the country to develop innovative new medicines and is connected with trade associations and networks to link with suppliers, buyers and institutions and be represented both nationally and internationally. The UK Department of International Trade provides end-to-end support for inward investors and stands ready to support any investment, whether it be from a brand new investor or one that is already well established in the UK. Innovation is key to our approach to healthcare, with an emphasis on quick, systematic delivery of innovation through organisations like NHSX, Accelerated Access Collaborative, NIHR, NICE and academic health science networks. The rapid adoption of new approaches, for example, genomics from sequencing research, personalized healthcare and prevention with underpinning education and training services, and new approaches to emerging challenges such as sustainability, cutting-edge infrastructure, and pandemic response. Patients benefit enormously from research and innovation with breakthroughs enabling prevention of ill health, earlier diagnosis, more effective treatments, better outcomes, and faster recovery. Those innovations coming out of the NHS can be shared with overseas partners and adapted to their local contexts. We can help develop strategies to support the use of data and digital interventions to improve patient outcomes. We can provide health system policy support to aid the strengthening of health and care services and the development of universal health care. We run national strategy and individual training programs designed to build a skilled and effective clinical workforce. And we can also help with the setting and enforcement of standards to ensure quality and safety of care and the production of evidence-based guidance. Taken together, the UK has a strong offer in healthcare and life sciences, and we are eager to share. Furthermore, the Department of International Trade has published a UK Digital Health Playbook, which showcases the best of British talent in digital health. This consists of a list of 100 companies selected after a rigorous process based on criteria included how committed they were to export and international expansion, the global uniqueness of their innovation, and how well they represent the UK journey in digital health, particularly within the NHS. Digital health is rightly unlocking challenges facing global healthcare. UK companies are at the forefront of technologies that offer accessible, affordable, and sustainable care. We are promoting British innovators in digital health and linking them with ever-increasing worldwide opportunities. Through the first 100, we will reach out to those who are not just leaders in their field, but those willing to find new areas, some of which are challenging, to make a positive and lasting impact in building the basis for healthcare of the future, personalized digital by default, and truly patient-centric. The rapid pace of change in science and technology is transforming many aspects of our lives, fundamentally reshaping our economy and our society, and unlocking previously inconceivable improvements in global health, well-being, and prosperity. As competition grows between science and technology, will also increase in importance as an area of systemic competition. In the years ahead, countries which establish a leading role in critical and emerging technologies will be at the forefront of global leadership. One of our priorities will be to build a strong and varied network of international S&T partnerships as an essential component of the Own Collaborate and Access framework, and to shape the responsible use of technology. That is why we are committed to developing a new framework for international science partnerships, putting S&T at the heart of our alliances and partnerships worldwide. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to introduce myself at this summit. Thanks to all who have been involved in the organization. I'm determined to use my role to deepen the relationship between the UK and Bosnia-Herzegovina. Forums like this are a great opportunity for us to engage and build bridges. And I look forward to hearing more of the discussions throughout the day, which I'm sure will expose a great deal of many more opportunities in which we can cooperate. Please do feel free to approach me during the course of the summit. I'll be delighted to hear from you, and if I can help in any way to increase our collaboration in this area, I'm very willing to help. Thank you very much.